It is time for a new tier list. A lot has changed. We have Umbreon, we have Leafeon release, and we also had a balance patch. So there's going to be a lot of changes happening on this tier list. And as always, we're first up with a path tier list, which means if you pick this Pokemon or top and bot path, how I rate this Pokemon across the entire match. And then for the second one, we have a central area tier list. The reason for this is, because like, let's say I have a tier list for only just like together for overall rating of a Pokemon. I put Cinderace in A because it's a good central area Pokemon, right? But then someone is going to go into the tier list, they see, oh, Cinderace is an A tier, I can just play this Pokemon, they pick it on top and bot path, which is much worse on, and this is why I always split my tier list. So let's start with the path tier list. As I mentioned, Mr. Mime, I think, doesn't do too well right now. I think a B+, I'm going to drop him from A to B+ on this patch. Doesn't seem too amazing. It's alright, you can pick Mr. Mime, but it's nothing too crazy anymore. I think therefore still solid A, even in a path, if you have an XP share, you know, lane partner is even better. Can't really rate it high. You can play Fire Blast, Fire Spin, which is quite good. You can play Mystical Fire, Flame Charge also in lane, also quite good. Chandelure, I think, might just be one of the best, you know, attacker right now. I'm going to put it into A+, very, very strong, and also has good, you know, it does need level 5, but after level 5, it's absolutely crazy. Dodrio, you might have thinking Dodrio has gotten worse, but Dodrio is actually the same as before, even after the nerfs. It's somewhere between S and A+ when it comes to pathing. It's still better in central area, of course, but it can also be very strong in path. Lucario is just struggling. It's very hard to put Lucario into B tier, but this Pokemon really just doesn't do all too much. Like, it's just not great. Gengar, I think I'm going to put actually for the first time Gengar in C tier when it comes to path. Usually I was like, you can pick Gengar in path, but it's just getting worse and worse, and the games are getting harder for someone like Gengar to exist. Other speeds are also much better when it comes to pathing, so I can't really recommend it. Cinderace, also still a terrible path Pokemon, can't recommend whatsoever. I think Blastoise is just pretty good. You can play Water Spout, Rapid Spin, Surf, Hydro Pump, and you're gonna have a good time on this Pokemon. Quite good. Goodra is gonna also drop pretty low. It's actually the lowest win rate Pokemon in the game right now. I don't think, just because it's the lowest win rate, it's C tier though. But yeah, it's just outshined, you know, by other defender Pokemon, and it needs a lot of help. Absol, I think, is a bit better than Gengar because it has better early game. But yeah, B tier doesn't, like, B tier is actually quite bad now. Like, if I put something to B tier, it's not great. Like, yeah, I would not recommend necessarily playing these Pokemon. You can, in B, you can still have a chance winning with them, but your chance is going to be much lower if you pick any Pokemon in, like, B. And in C tier, good luck. You just need a good team if you want to win with these Pokemon. Zoroark, I think I'm going to pump it into S tier. This Pokemon is absolutely crazy. It needs nerfs very fast. Lapras, I'm going to put down into A+ tier after the latest nerf. It's still a great Pokemon though, of course, but for me it has lost a bit of value. I think Talonflame is actually quite good as a path Pokemon as well. I think B+. B+, I think, is just solid. Like, B+ is just average Pokemon you can play and have success on. A is just very solid, you know. So B+ doesn't mean they're bad. Like, B+ means those Pokemon are decent. They're just things that are just better. Straight up. Buzzwole is an interesting one. I think Buzzwole, like, I personally want to put it into A tier now. I'm going to do so. Even though its win rate has not gotten up right now, I think Buzzwole is quite annoying. There's certain games where Buzzwole just feels very 50-50 though, and it can be very difficult, but I do think this Pokemon is actually quite good right now. I'm going to put it into A. I think Garchomp again, I like Garchomp. People think I put it too high. They might be right on it, but I do think Garchomp is actually quite fine. Against Umbreon, it does struggle a tiny bit, but I don't think it's necessarily, you know, anything worse. I think Gardevoir is just alright right now. It's just I think it's better in central area than it is in the path, even though it can, you know, lane quite well in bot path. But yeah, I don't think it's anything too crazy. You can pick it. I think Venusaur is actually quite fine. I know a lot of people are not a big fan of Solar Beam, but I do think Solar Beam is actually quite good in the current meta and should not be underestimated. We have even seen it being played in tournaments a bit more. And yeah, it's not too bad. Dragapult is terrible when it comes to pathing. Don't recommend. I think Cram has lost a bit. I'm going to put it to B+. I think there's just better damage options right now to play. I feel like Machamp is weird. Machamp is still fine. I personally don't have a lot of success with this Pokemon anymore. But if you want to pick an all-rounder, it's still quite fine to pick. It's still very good of a laner. Mew, I think Mew is still... I mean, I don't want to put it into A+ tier because it does lost a lot of value, but I think it's still solid A Pokemon, doesn't matter what. Same for Sylveon. Sylveon is just a very reliable attacker Pokemon you can always pick. Has two very good builds, Hyper Voice, Mystical Fire. Both are very viable. Aegislash, I'm going to put I want to put him higher, but it's still just not quite there. Like it still needs to, I don't know, it still needs a bit more. Sadly, I want to put it into like a higher tier, but I don't think I can. So yeah, I'm gonna put it right here into B+ tier. Serena is just terrible. I don't know. I'm gonna put Serena actually. I don't know. I don't want to put it into C tier, but I'm gonna put it into C tier. Serena's awful. It is just really, it's just unplayable. I try to play Serena from time to time, and the games are absolutely miserable, and I wouldn't recommend anyone, you know, going through those. Duraludon, if you want to pick a physical attacker Pokemon in Path, I think Duraludon is your best option. If you want to go for something basic attack, you know, heavy, is your best option for, you know, laning phase. Charizard, absolutely terrible in Path. I wouldn't recommend. I mean, actually, I think it's a bit better than those. I think Charizard as well is another Pokemon where if you have an XP share support defender next to you, you can pick it and you can consider it. If you don't do it. If your lane partner is like, you know, one of these Pokemon down here, don't pick Charizard. But I do think, you know, it's quite easy to farm your night moves up and come back into the game with this Pokemon. Azumarill, I'm going to put back into A tier after the latest buffs. I know I made a video like, is it the new Zacian? But I was like trying to meme a tiny bit, having a funny thumbnail as well. But I think Azumarill is quite good again, and for sure something you can start picking again. I think Scizor, I want to put Scizor into A tier. The only reason I'm putting Scizor into B+ tier is because you don't know who you play against, and that's a big issue for this Pokemon. Not knowing what Pokemon on the enemy team makes it much worse. It's just how it is, straight up. Ninetales, easily A+ tier, maybe even S tier. Very strong attacker. Right now, probably the best, you know, with Chandelure. I would even rate it maybe a bit higher than Chandelure when it comes to laning. It's very strong and very annoying to play against. Also very good counter to a lot of the meta Pokemon right now. Then we have Urshifu with the... I mean, I hate Surging Strikes Urshifu, or like Urshifu in Path, but it's just a good Pokemon. Doesn't matter what. Even after the nerfs, funny enough, the win rate of Urshifu stayed the same, or actually went even up even after the nerfs, so not much has changed. I think Snorlax, yeah, I mean, there's just better defender Pokemon right now. Gotta say it. It's also a terrible solo queue Pokemon. Would not recommend anyone to play this Pokemon in solo queue, but it's alright. Pikachu, not great. B+, joins this attacker right here. I mean, I think Gardevoir was probably better than those, for sure. Russell, I can't recommend this Pokemon in any case right now. It's just awful. Trinita, when it comes to pathing, is also just awful. Even in Sand with this Pokemon doesn't feel good right now. Scyther, yeah, not too amazing either, I have to say. It's alright, but nothing too crazy. Elagos is probably S tier. This Pokemon is absolutely insane. Clefable is A+ tier, easily as well. Yes, it has a defender background. They haven't changed this tier list with new pictures, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to put into A+ tier. Wigglytuff is alright. Nothing too crazy. I think B+ again. B+ are Pokemon you can easily play and still have success on. And I think that's it. Slowbro. And this, I hate playing against this Pokemon. This Pokemon probably triggers me almost more than anything else. Just knowing you can't make a play because it's going to press one button on you is very frustrating. Blissey is also still very strong in my opinion. Easily A+. All the supports are very good. All the healing supports are super strong. Dragonite is an interesting one. I think Dragonite I'm going to put actually up into B+ here when it comes to pathing now. Dragonair is actually quite good now, and actually the early game feels quite good. Hyper Beam is back. Outrage also feels good, so it doesn't matter which version of Dragonite you play, you actually can do a lot and get a lot done. And I think it can totally be even higher depending on how, you know, again, if you have an XP share support, suddenly a lot of Pokemon are much better than they actually are. But I can't just, you know, I can't base a tier list based on if you have an XP share support or not. So I'm going to put it into B+ tier. Espeon, in my opinion, is still very strong if you play Stored Power and Psybeam, which I also made a video about today if you want to check it out. Very strong. Decidueye in Path. I'm going to rate it higher than these just because on level 7 it actually is insanely strong. It doesn't need as much experience as others. It just has to get to level 7. It's still nothing that I'm a big fan of. Again, another XP share Pokemon. If you have a lane partner, Mamoswine doesn't feel good at all right now, but I think it's still playable in B tier at least. Greedent is alright. I think Greedent is just always a Pokemon that depends on who plays it, right? That's just how it is. Nothing, no one likes this Pokemon anyways. No one likes playing it. Trevenant, I think I'm going to put it into here just because there's better defender Pokemon right now, but it's still also very strong. Woodhammer Hornleech, absolutely amazing. Going to put the other Urshifu build next to the other Urshifu. Hoopa, easily S tier Pokemon. I hate Hyperspace Hole. Hyperspace Hole is the most broken thing in the entire game. I swear, I mean, not quite right now, but it's probably the most broken move when it comes to what mechanic it has. Hyperspace Hole is crazy. It is just. Sableye, I think, has dropped a decent amount, down to B+ tier after the nerfs. I don't think it's unplayable, but it has lost a lot of value. And, you know, I think we're quite happy about it. Comfey is weird. It's hard rating Comfey right now, but I don't think it's too great. I think Comfey is only good if you really have someone, you know, that's very good on a Pokemon and you can help them out. Besides that, I feel like all the other healing supports are just straight up better, at least in my opinion. Glaceon, when it comes to Path, I think is still solid A as well, or maybe even A+ still when it comes to Pathing as well. It's just annoying. Isaac Spear is just nonsense damage. Zaura, I don't think it's as bad as these Pokemon. It's nothing amazing either, though, of course. Zacian, still S tier when it comes to Path, of course. I don't think that's a surprise. It's not God tier anymore. It's not a 1v, like you pick it and you just straight up in the game. But it's, of course, still quite strong. Greninja goes down here as well at the bottom. And then we have Leafeon and Umbreon. And Umbreon, straight up, is the new best Pokemon in the entire game. I don't think I have to say much about that. Umbreon is straight up broken. Snarl is a overloaded, like, it's similar to Sacred Sword. Like, Sacred Sword does too much, and Snarl also does way too much. It just has way too many things packed into one move, and it just does everything. It does damage, it stuns, it gives a shield, hindrance resistance, it reduces damage. It just does way too many things at the same time, right? Just straight up. So, yeah. Umbreon, new best Pokemon in the game, currently. And Leafeon is also interesting. I don't know if I should put Leafeon into S or A+ tier, but I think for Path I'm going to put into A+ tier. And for Central it might even be, you know, a bit different. But yeah, this is going to be for my Path tier list. You guys can make a screenshot now. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. And I'm going to head into the Central tier list right now. There we go. Gonna start with Venusaur again. I think Venusaur is a solid, you know, Central area Pokemon as well. It doesn't matter if you go Petal Dance or Solar Beam, it actually works in Central area quite well. Delphox, I'm gonna drop from S to A+ tier, just because Speedsters are very hard to deal with for this right now. Like if you play against Zoroark or against Leafeon, it's quite difficult to play a good Delphox sometimes. You have to be very careful, you just get absolutely one shot. It can be quite difficult. Gengar, even in Jungle, is just, or Central, is just not good right now. Like, I don't know what to tell you guys. It is just, I think it's still maybe B+. Like, you're not going to instantly grieve by picking it, but if you play against certain Pokemon like Umbreon, you're just going to probably lose straight up. Is it a grieve? No, it's of course not. Gardevoir, solid A, in my opinion. Just a good Pokemon when it comes to Central area as well. Absol, just not really it either right now. I think B+ is probably quite fair about it. Decidueye is actually A+, even though I just mentioned a lot of Speedstars. Spirit Shackle is absolutely insane. If you have a team around you, Spirit Shackle is so crazy and is very strong. You just have to pick Decidueye when your team comps looks fine. Like, don't pick Decidueye when your team comp looks bad. If you play it after you see your path, you know, they have like frontline, maybe healer support, you can for sure pick Decidueye and have a great time with this Pokemon. It's very strong right now. Lucario, terrible Central area Pokemon, don't recommend. Garchomp, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Central area Garchomp, and I think it has a lot of potential. And again, I might be rating Garchomp too high, but I'm going to put it into A. Greninja struggles, I feel like, right now as well. I feel like these Pokemon just struggle. You know, Greninja, Gengar, Absol just struggle right now. And they're like all kind of similar. They need like your reset or like to one-shot someone, but they just don't have enough damage. And there's just better one-shot Pokemon in the game. I think Talonflame is actually quite good. I like this Pokemon a lot. Very underrated. Just, again, probably better Speedsters around. I think Charizard is also quite good still. In my opinion, A+. Only problem is, like, Umbreon can be an issue, but again, Umbreon is an issue for every Pokemon right now, right? That's just how it is. Cinderace, I think Cinderace is actually better than Greninja. If you want to have something that can kill frontline, I think Cinderace is a great pick. Again, another Pokemon like Decidueye who needs a bit of assistance. Physical attacker Pokemon generally struggle right now. If you don't have a lot of, you know, backup, it can be quite difficult. I'm gonna put Cram down a tiny bit. Actually, I mean, I feel like Cram also still deserves A. I mean, if you play Dive Air Slash, it's still a good Pokemon, so I think it deserves A. Zeraora joins this mix down here. I think B is a bit too harsh. I think this is totally fine. Machamp though. Machamp is not great in Central area. It works, but do you really want to put into Central? Not really. There's just much better things. Pikachu, don't play this in Central area. Ninetales is one of my favorite Central area Pokemon for a while, actually. But now with the Blizzard Avalanche build, it's back to, you know, being a Path Pokemon. If you play it in Central area, it's going to be like Veil and Gleam build. You can do it, but you don't have to. Let's just put it straight up into that. Sylveon, I think, is a fine Central area Pokemon as well. Mystical Fire is actually quite decent. when it comes to being a Central Area Pokemon. Something I can recommend. Blastoise was played a lot. Right now, I don't think I would necessarily pick it in Central Area anymore, but again, B+ just means you can win on these Pokemon, but it's going to be much, much more difficult than others, of course. Dragonite, this might be a surprise, but I'm putting Dragonite back into S tier. Yes, Dragonite S tier, Hyper Beam, Dragon Dance is insane right now. I see Dragonite a lot of games now. I see it much, much more often than I used to, and it's amazing. Serena, I don't want to talk about this Pokemon, it hurts me. I mean, Serena dominated this game for quite a while, so maybe it's deserved that it's a bit down right now, but oof. Aegislash in Central Area, I'm not a big fan. It does work, but yeah. I mean, actually, it's probably down here. I think B might be a bit too harsh. No, actually, I think it's fine. I think that's actually fine. Next we have Duraludon. Again, if you just want to have a... Like, here's a high win rate. If you want to pick a physical auto-attack Pokemon, it's still a solid choice. So, I'm going to put into A+ here. Azumarill. It's just a better path Pokemon. It does work in Central Area, but yeah. Like, you just want to get to level 4 in path and just dominate your, top or bot path. So... And you need stacks, like attack rate stacks are very important, I think, for Aqua Tail, at least in my opinion. Increase your damage by quite a lot. Same for Serena, that's the problem as well. Like, Serena is someone who needs attack rate stacks. If you don't get it, you're gonna have a hard time. Espeon, I think Stout Power Psybeam is an amazing Central Area build as well. It's absolutely amazing. Glaceon, it doesn't matter if you play Icicle Sphere or Icy Wind, to me it's still S tier, easily. Such an annoying Pokemon, very easy to play. Buzzwole in Central Area is alright, but it just falls off in late game a bit, and then, like, if you play it in Central Area, you don't really have a late game carry necessarily, but it does work there as well. I don't think it's nothing you necessarily want to do, but if you really want to play Buzzwole in Central Area, you can, but I wouldn't recommend it. Mew is actually not too bad in Central Area. It lost a lot of value, but yeah, it's nothing too crazy either. Actually, I'm going to put Buzzwole also into B+ tier right here. Let's put them into B+ tier. Tyranitar, I absolutely hate right now. In Central Area, I think it's very difficult. The game is very, very fast-paced with a lot of speedsters, with all the evolutions, right? Like, the game is way too fast for Tyranitar right now. It is way, way too fast. Pokemon hit their power spikes on level 4, on level 6, get Unite moves at level 8, and Tyranitar is still looking for level 9. The game might already be over. Zoroark on level 5, Leafeon on level 4, like those Pokemon, Umbreon. It has no pace. Like, the game is way too fast for Tyranitar. It's way, way too fast right now. Scyther, it's alright if you want to play a fun speedster. It's alright to play. Scizor in Central Area, still not a fan. It's still better than those, I would say, though, on the bottom. Zoroark, S tier as well, even though I feel like you should pick it in... in Path. It's also just a broken Pokemon right now. Dojo as well, still S tier in my opinion. Absolutely insane. Urshifu, both also going to S tier. And S tier is going to fill up, but all those amazing Central Area Pokemon right now, you can all play. Dragapult, I actually like it. I actually like this Pokemon. I think it's a solid A, but it also needs, again, those Pokemon need protection more than anyone else. Zacian, still S tier. Surprise, surprise. Chandelure, easily A+, maybe even S. I think Glaceon might just be a bit more annoying. Icy Wind is also still broken. Like, Icy Wind didn't get any changes, right? So, maybe Glaceon should be down here, thinking about it, or maybe Chandelure should be up here. I feel like they are, might be in the same column when it comes to power, but Glaceon just takes no skill to play, can't be honest. Leafeon as well, I would say, joins S tier as a Central Area Pokemon. It just takes over games right now. It is absolutely brutal how much damage this Pokemon does in early game. Unite move at level 8. It can pretty much Unite move at like 8 minutes, and then at 7 minutes again, and at 6 minutes it can Unite move every single team fight. It's absolutely insane. Very, very strong Pokemon. And Umbreon, I mean, I'm not going to rate Umbreon in Central Area, right? I mean, I think you can probably play this when it be somewhere here. But yeah, like you could play Central Area Umbreon, but it just doesn't make any sense, right? I don't think it does. Blastoise is a bit different, because Blastoise, I mean, Umbreon does a lot of damage, but Blastoise is more like a, with Water Sport, Rapid Spin, more of a damage all-rounder, I would say. Umbreon also feels like an all-rounder, same for Lapras, but yeah, those are not really Central Area Pokemon necessarily. That's going to be the tier list right here. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments what you think about it. If you think this looks great, if there's something you are like, this doesn't look great, always curious about you guys' comments. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!